A couple of years ago, when I started my PhD, I really enjoyed reading people's PhD theses and seeing what they included in the acknowledgements. Then I came across a thesis, the author thanking their partner, saying that they met and also got married in Australia. And I found this quite touching. A life partner who loves you and supports your PhD, like, come on. I even texted my friend on this and said that I also wanted a husband to write in my thesis acknowledgement. And we were even joking that we could put this line in our profiles. And guess what? A few years later, I actually got a husband who I can write into my thesis acknowledgement without me even realizing it. Hi everyone, welcome. This is Yahua. If you have watched my live update video last time, you probably knew that I got married before I even finished my PhD. So in today's video, let's rewind to a year ago when I was still working on my thesis and planning for a wedding ceremony. Last year, because I was in my final few months of writing my thesis, so I didn't really feel like having a big ceremony. What I wanted was to celebrate the moment with a small group of friends and family in a carefree way. So here is a list of the things we did, starting with the pre-marriage photo shoot or the engagement shoot. Since my partner and I first met in Melbourne, we planned to do a pre-wedding photo shoot. I'm saying we, but it's actually more like I want to do it. I asked my photographer friend Jaguar to help us with the shoot. 你好. So we literally walked around Melbourne CBD and took cute photos. It was a fun day, but you know, because it's Melbourne CBD, even though we pick a weekday morning, it's still quite busy on the street, and it took some courage for my very introverted partner to pose in public. But along the way, we got lots of congratulations from strangers, so it was quite an experience. We didn't plan for a wedding reception, but I still wanted my friends to come and celebrate this day. So on the day we registered for marriage, we arranged a lunch with a bunch of my close friends.
Special menu. Seafood allergic.
And yes, everyone was wearing blue or dark navy to look nice and consistent in photos. As my parents came all the way from China to Australia, it was cute to see my parents chatting with my friends in Melbourne. Alright, before I jump into showing the ceremony day, here is a how to get married in Australia one-on-one, just in case someone might need it. In order to get married in Melbourne, Australia, you need to firstly find a celebrant to facilitate the vows and sign the documents and book a venue for the ceremony, either in Old Treasury Building, this Renaissance Revival style government building, or a venue of your choice like a restaurant, a hotel, or a resort. And you also need to submit a form to the government to let them know your intention for marriage and wait for at least 30 days. I don't really know why they need you to prepare this a month ahead of your wedding, but I guess that functions as a cool-down period to avoid people rushing into marriage. On the wedding day, your celebrant will solemnize your marriage and you're gonna sign a few documents. Then after the marriage, your celebrant would register your marriage at a bunch of different government departments. And that's how you officially get married in Australia. Since we didn't really want to do a big ceremony and didn't want to wait for that long either, the earliest day we could book at the Old Treasury Building was this small room that allowed a small, intimate ceremony with closest friends and family. And the earliest day we could book that room was in 2 months, which also means that we have literally 2 months to prepare for this wedding thing. And again, around that time, my brain was still filled with my thesis writing, so I didn't really want to spare any of my brain cells to even think about what I have to prepare for my wedding ceremony. And it was actually my girlfriends who pushed me to find a dress. So I spent a weekend shopping and trying on different white dresses, and I eventually picked this one from Bridge. It was the first dress that I put on, and it was on sale, so even though I was a bit hesitant, I still bought it, and I didn't need to stress about finding a perfect dress. And other things we have to prepare for the ceremony included our rings, his suit, and a bouquet. I really love flowers, and I thought it would be fun to DIY my own bouquet. I watched a bunch of YouTube tutorials on floral arrangements and thought, alright, I can nail this at home. So 4 days before the ceremony, I went to the market to get a bunch of fresh flowers, including daisies, peonies, snapdragons, and roses, and I did the arrangement at home in front of the mirror. Apparently, it helps with seeing the arrangement from a different angle. This is so funny. So I thought I have done my flower arrangement. I even tightened, and I think this looks pretty good. But I didn't use any of this flower. I completely forgot that they existed. I guess I will just add a few more pieces of this for further decoration, but we are pretty much done. The flowers were under $100, and I could do 3 different bouquets with everything I got. I think it's worth the money since flowers in Australia are expensive. For me, it was a unique experience and some productive distractions from my thesis writing, but I also don't recommend doing that because these flowers are so delicate, and I constantly worry that what if my peonies would bloom too fast, so I literally have to put all of my flowers in the bathroom for a few days to let them to stay cool. And another thing that I DIY was my makeup. I did it myself in the morning on a wedding day. I just put on lashes. That's so stressful to put on. 定妆，这个妆就不会掉了。
哦，那你帮我定一下。
你不要碰我这里。
可以了。And since my parents came to Melbourne, we also did some Chinese wedding traditions at home, though in a very simplistic way, including the hair combing ceremony.
一书百顺，2书富贵满堂，3书前程似锦，祝我女儿一辈子幸福快乐。完了没有？太美了。
等一下拍照片。
拖鞋什么的就不要拍到里面了。
导演要得预演。
人像了不？如果拍照用人像了。
你说我容易吗？
可以了，可以了。
这样可以。
And the tea ceremony, and then we headed out together for registry ceremony at the Old Treasury Building.
结婚登记的路上，阳光明媚，真的特别好的一天。
Let's go. 哈哈。 The celebrant came and hosted the ceremony. Then we exchanged vows and rings. Then we signed some documents, posed for photos, and the ceremony was pretty much done. The whole thing was done in like 30 minutes. Because I have lots of talented friends who are into photography, so I asked for favors from my friends to document this day, and they literally brought different devices, phones, analog cameras, digital cameras, you name it. And the wedding day was indeed all about taking a bunch of different photos from different locations. After the ceremony was done, we headed to Chinatown to have dinner with our family members. I didn't even film or take many photos for the dinner because I was already exhausted at that point. But that summarized the day that I got married. To be honest, I don't feel like marriage has changed much between my partner and me. Sometimes when I brought him up to my friends, I even have the urge to call him as my boyfriend instead of my husband. From my own understanding, marriage has both legal and social functions, sometimes even political functions. So I try not to romanticize marriage too much. And I don't believe in the classic Disney storyline where a princess meets a prince and they got married and that's the happily ever after. To me, marriage isn't a final destination for a romantic relationship. Marriage is more like a long-term partnership that requires a lot of communications and teamwork. But I probably have more understanding of what marriage is as time goes by since I'm only 1 year into my marriage. Anyhow, that's how I multitask a wedding during my PhD. From my parents' point of view, this probably doesn't even count as a wedding because it's just too simple if you judge by the Chinese traditional standards. But they also respect our decisions and understand that nowadays, young people probably prefer going traveling instead of spending too much on a wedding. I feel that a wedding is just a small chapter of our life and there will be many more chapters we can celebrate together in the future. So that is all for today's video. Let me know in the comments what's your thoughts on marriage and wedding ceremony. Hope you enjoy and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!